Well, the House of Representatives has been busy voting on budget plans this week. And on Friday, Budget Committee Chairman Paul Ryan's Path to Prosperity, calling for $6 trillion in cuts over the next 10 years, was approved. But on Thursday, the House approved the compromise bill that will fund the federal government through September of this year. Kansas Republican Congressman Huelskamp supports Paul Ryan's plan, but he voted no on Thursday's vote. Congressman Huelskamp joins us now. Congressman, it's good to have you here. Welcome very much, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you. Pleasure to join you, Governor.
Some members of your staff said that you have been somewhat frustrated with the pace and the flow of how Washington works. You're a freshman member of Congress, one who went with a mission. Tell me about that frustration and what you're feeling.
Well, I'm particularly frustrated. I think a lot of folks in Washington say the right things, Governor, but there's a real lack of urgency. When we have a $14.3 trillion deficit and we can only talk about cutting a few billions of dollars when you have that massive debt looking at us, a $1.6 trillion annual deficit, there's not the urgency there, whether it's with the Democrats or oftentimes with the Republicans.
Congressman, you voted no on that compromise continuing resolution bill. Tell me why you said not going to vote for that.
Well, the Pledge to America that the Republicans put out last fall talked about $100 billion in cuts if we would win the House. What started at $100 billion went down to 61, went down to 38, 33, and then in the middle of the week we discovered a report from the Congressional Budget Office that suggested the savings for the next 6 months would be less than potentially $1 billion. And that's just not nearly enough. It's a start in the right direction. At least we're talking about cutting rather than increasing spending, but we have a long ways to go. And that's a lack of urgency I sense in Washington.
All right, Congressman, if this thing does end up shutting down, are the Republicans sort of ready to say, we'll go out there to the American people and explain what happened and why? And what are the alternatives? What are the options that you've got? Again, I mean, I think the goal is get 60 senators elected who are Republicans next year, get a president who's a Republican next year. That certainly frees things up to really get some things going. But in light of sort of the fractured situation that we've got, what are the Republicans ready to do, willing to do, in order to make their point?
Well, the budget is done for the remainder of the fiscal year, and that's a start. However, we have the debt ceiling coming up. The nation is close to maxing out our credit card, and the bill is coming due. And there are folks in Washington who say, well, wait 2 years, wait till 2014, then we'll have a Senate. Well, we'll be able to do something. But when you look at our debt load, our debt crisis, unless we change the path, and that's what the path to prosperity is, unless we change the trajectory of this nation, we have to do it very quickly. 2 or 4 years from now might be too late. And that's the urgency we need Washington to understand, that American people, they balance their budget every month, or they try to. Washington hasn't balanced their budget since the late 90s. And we're trying to move that direction, but the hole is deep and it will take a long time to work its way out.
The president came out with his plan. I guess it was a plan. It seemed to me more like a political statement than it was any specifics. But he really, I thought it was interesting. He invited Congressman Ryan to hear the speech. Then he basically personally blasted him. What was your reaction to that experience that the president presented the other day?
Well, very disappointing, but not surprising. It was all about the next campaign, and as I think most American people understand, it's time to move past that, Mr. President. It's time to get on with facing our crisis, and a speech doesn't solve it, because there's no time to waste, Mr. President. So step up to the plate with a serious proposal, and that certainly wasn't serious. It's trillions of dollars of new taxes. That's his answer. Trillions of dollars of new spending, trillions of dollars of new debt in the next 10 years, and about 12 years from now, he says we might make some progress of bringing down that debt, and that's far too long off.
Congressman, thank you very much. Congressman Tim Huelskamp from our neighboring state not too far away in Kansas, and a good friend as well. Thank you very much, Congressman.